And welcome in once again, ladies and gentlemen. After a week hiatus, we are back with in the driver's seat on YSN with the Boomhauer Bandit himself, Mr. Corey Renforth. We are up close and personal. We've rearranged the studio a little bit. We got full mullet cam.
That can be dangerous.
It can be dangerous. We got full mullet cam on your left there, right there, literally.
This thing might start smoking at some point.
You can stare into the souls of our viewers here today.
Full Undertaker.
So talk to me. I mean, what did you do on your off week before we intro our guest here, Mr. Renforth?
Oh, the off week. Spent about $300 in 24 hours at the Canfield Fair. They're welcome for me keeping that thing running single-handedly, it feels like. But we also lost a good friend, Rick Siciliano, out at the track. So it wasn't all fun and games. And Rick was the first guy I called when something broke on my car. He's the first guy a lot of people called because he would do work incredibly reasonably, price-wise, and it was always top quality work. And it was a tough one, man. You try not to be like how does this affect me? Because he's got family and whatnot, and so you're like, but your initial thought is like, oh, I gotta really take care of a race car now because my guy that I went to is not here, and I don't have anybody else. So we're all kind of searching for somebody to fill those shoes, and those are awfully hard shoes to fill. And last night we had like a memorial race to him, so the Chargers and Classics, the Dwarf cars, they were donating all the purses from the races, and then anybody else that chose to could. And the Dwarfs and Chargers, with the exception of a couple people, we all donated. And I think as of last night around midnight, the total was like $2,565, I think.
Wow.
That we raised for Rick's wife and expenses for that type of stuff. And so that's going to go all straight to them. Hopefully help them out a lot.
I mean, it was sudden as well, right?
Yeah. Like nobody was expecting it. And like I said, hopefully it helps them out because, Rick helped us out. If they ever need anything, they just get a hold of me. I'll help them out further if I can.
I mean, talk to me about it. When a loss like that happens to the racing community, it sends shockwaves, not just for a week, but for a long, long time, because you feel that immensely. Because we talk about it, and I feel like we always talk about the family of a racing organization such as Goods, and then talk to me about the impact that had and how you could feel it last week and really this week as well.
Yeah, it was like a heavy feeling last night going out for that feature race. It's kind of like it's like a thickness in the air almost. It just kind of you're feeling like you got to drive differently now. You got because you're like I can't tear this thing up. Like it's the guy's not here. Like I don't know who I'll turn to. Like Nick Gross put our engine in my car, and Rick told me to call him. And I put a Facebook post on there, said, generally, if you got a call from me asking something about those cars, it was, hey, Rick Siciliano told me to give you a call. That's why I'm calling you. So if you heard from me, it was because Rick, and because Rick was my first phone call. Like, hey, this is, and I'd take a car to his house, and he'd fix some stuff for me, and I'd spend 2 hours there just shooting the bull with him, and just it was always a good time, learning stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's a tough loss for everybody. I mean, there's so many cars out there that he had. The one thing I want to try to keep going is he always had a box of free stuff. just little odds and ends parts.
Mm-hmm.
But if you broke it and you needed it quick, it was free and it was there in a box. You could grab it and go put it on your car. So I'm hoping we can keep that going. Set up a table with the box free stuff on it, and people can donate. And if you have small parts that you don't think you need right now, throw it in the box, and somebody may need it. Hopefully, we can keep that going. That was something like a lot of people were like, "Oh, hey, what you got in the box today?" There's some people are like, "Hey, what's in the box free stuff?" Like it was just
The mystery box.
Yeah, it was just kind of like an odds and ends pieces. Maybe a bolt, maybe them Heim joints or something you need. You might need it. You might tear it up in a heat race, and you need it to get your car back out there. And it was there. And heck, even if it wasn't in the box free stuff, most of the time Rick could give it to you for free anyway. Like sometimes he'd tell people like, "Hey, if you win because you got back out there, you can give me money for it. If not, yeah, just keep it, whatever. If it don't get you up front."
It's something that looks like you're getting very emotional about. You know what I mean? It's something that it never really goes away. You talked about one of the tougher things is he's your first phone call when things go wrong with your car. A lot of us go through that with our family, and it's almost like the first time you really need to call them is the first time that they're gone. When stuff goes wrong, I'm sure last night you looked down and you thought, "Hey, I could really use to talk to Rick," and you look at your phone and it hits you again because you're so programmed to think a certain way.
We were talking about it last night because my steering wheel is kind of like too far forward, like I'm almost stretched out, and I want to move that back like 4 inches or so it's closer to me. Like in all my vehicles, I pull that steering wheel like back up to my chest, and I'm like this. And I'm like, the only problem is my guy that I would set that up with in the off season to fix that is not here now. Like I gotta search around and find out how I get that done without the guy that I would normally go to. It's like you got that go-to person, and it's like, what do you do? And like I said, you don't want to sound selfish and like think of it in terms of how this affects you, because he's got family and everything that they're affected greatly by it. But ultimately, everybody has their own personal experiences with people, and like you said, the first phone call, even just something minor, just to talk to him about something like that. It ultimately, everybody's going to put it in their own perspective.
One thing that you're going to remember and the most about him, like when you hear the one word affiliation, what's his legacy?
Just I don't know. There's so many words that are jumbled up in there. It's the reliability, the craftsmanship. It was good work that he did on everybody's cars, and the kindness. And I don't think he ever told anybody no that raced a car that needed repairs. So I don't know.
Nick Groves chiming in and saying, "There's plenty of us out there to help you, bud." And Steve Gilmartin says, "Sorry for your loss. Prayers to his family and the racing community." So,
as I say, there's a lot of people that are closer to him than me, but like I said, ultimately, I can only speak from I'm sure Haley and her dad have had experience with Rick too, and they have their own story. Because, like Jim and Jen said, I think 95% of the cars that raced at that track, Rick did some kind of work.
That's a labor of love too. You know what I mean? That's what he loved to do.
He was mounting tires in his trailer. Like he showed up with like welders, and he was mounting tires for people in his trailer at the track. Like, hey, I need new tires mounted. Like, okay, bring them to the trailer, mount them up. He weld something for you on the spot. Like, he's there at the track, and we're all going to learn how easy it was to have a guy there that had parts at the track. Like, when there's not a guy there that has all the parts, like, it's almost having, like, you have a parts trailer at the track. Like, you need something, there it is. And we're all going to have to, like, it's going to take all of us to fill those shoes. I mean, we're all going to have to be kind to one another and give parts if we have extra parts to one another. I mean, I'm useless as a mechanic, or I'm not useless, but I wouldn't trust my work on somebody else's car, but I'll give you a hand on anything I can. I'm a good gopher. I can run and get stuff. That's what, and if I have the parts or tools that you need, please come see me. I mean, I can't fill those shoes. I can't even, pardon my French, but I can't piss a drop to what that guy did in people's life. But I'll try. I'll give it all I got.
We appreciate the homage, so to speak, to Rick this morning, and obviously he's in a lot of people's hearts, minds, and prayers this morning as the racing world again looks on for the return of In the Driver's Seat. Corey, let's turn the page a little bit. We have some exciting friends with us here. Let's give your award-winning intro, if you will.
Okay. This is Haley Flinner. She is a girl that drives a race car. And she has the mirror image, I guess, of our car number. She's the 34 car, and we're the 43. So there she is.
That was a dynamite. That might be the top rung.
You tell me to introduce
She's
these people.
She's a girl that drives a race car, and our numbers are flipped around.
I got two girls that I tried to get drive a race car, and they were afraid of the crowd. So, like, I mean, not that her being a girl has anything to do with anything. They'll make her better or worse, but
step aside, Bandit. Step aside.
I'm letting the professional take over now.
Step aside. Haley, welcome to the show. It's awesome to have you. Jeremy, your dad. We're going to call him Papa Bear for all intents and purposes here today. Haley, talk to us. I mean, do the right intro. You know, talk to me about you. What you enjoy about racing. Why you love racing so much.
Well, this is my second year racing. I've enjoyed coming out to the track every Saturday with my family and just getting the feel of the track and learning from experiences, I guess. And it just makes me happy to think at the end of the week I get to come out to the track. Most girls are out there playing with Barbies and trying to figure out what they want to do. You're from Maplewood.
Volleyball, cheerleading, things like that, getting their nails done, getting their hair done, and you're out there getting dirty on the track on a Saturday night. Talk to me about what excites you about that.
I don't know. It's the feeling you have when out there and seeing all the people come to watch you, and it could be different every week. So you just have to think about it and just go for it.
How old are you?
14.
14 years old. I can't imagine 14 in this world and being a girl and getting into, for all intents and purposes, and with all due respect, a guy's game in racing. When you look around, you've got 75-year-old guys next to you, like Corey, the Bandit. I'm just saying. I mean, the mullet cam is going strong right now, by the way. We're getting comments out the wazoo right now. Jim Good chipping in saying he was a true genius, obviously referring to Rick when it came to ideas and a way to improve things. Mark Sukan saying Rick was amazing, made racing affordable. Jim saying the Flinters are super nice family. We are proud that they are part of our race family. When you hear things like that, Haley, what does that mean to you?
It just makes me happy that people are like out there watching us and seeing what we are like, and we like to give back too. Like, we like having interactions out there at the track, talking to people, getting to know them. It's really fun. What's
a typical race day like for you? And we'll ask Dad later, so that way, I'm sure there's a little bit more frustration with him. You show up, you can't really drive yourself to the track yet. You're 14 years old, but you get on that track and you go crazy. What's a race day like for you?
It's getting ready in the morning to head out, making sure I have a bunch of different things because you never know what the weather's like out there. Mm-hmm. Getting mentally prepared for the track and showing up and getting all my gear ready, my car out, and seeing what the track's like to mentally prepare myself and just getting out there.
So when you say mentally prepare yourself, what does that look like? It looks different in every sport. So what does it look like for you in racing?
It's thinking about where I need to be, what to avoid, seeing how like different track texture, I guess. Mm-hmm. seeing how the turns are, making sure I know where I need to be.
Do you have, I mean, I'm sure you have friends in the racing family at Goods. What are your friends like outside of racing think about you getting behind the wheel? Do they come out and support? Are they just like, what are you doing, Haley?
Yes. I have friends and even like teachers at school. They are all impressed with it and actually have some sponsors that are family friends.
Give them a shout out. This is the best time. This is where they get their money's worth.
Integrity Aquatic, Sexton Architecture, and Alcon Mechanical. Their sons are all in my grade, and we've been friends with them for years with sports, talking to them all the time. And it just makes me happy to know that they're out there supporting me. All
right, Dad, we're bringing you in now because it's been, I'm sure it's been a whirlwind for you. You know, you were a former racer, correct? Still, yeah. I don't want to say former because you can always get back in the car.
True.
So talk to me about when, was it you that kind of introduced her to racing, or did she build the interest from watching you?
Well, actually, this makes Haley a third generation driver. My father was a drag racer back in the 60s, and his love of motorsports sort of fed into me. And back in the day of the old Canfield Super Nats and going down there, we had several different cars that we would cruise the strip and, you know, the big horsepower deals when they would come in. And that's always been sort of a love. And where we lived is beside the Trumbull County Fair, which is the biggest track in the state of Ohio, the 5/8 mile. So watching the big sprints and super late models back in the day always got my heart pounding. One of our friends, my father, actually worked with the dad. Shout out to Mike Borwitz Sr. He used to run super late models. His grandson, Brian Jr., is doing 270 sprints. So we've been longtime friends with the Borwitz families, which is also through the Goods now. So we are always making that big connection. But getting back to me, the Siciliano family, you know, that's how I got my start 20 years ago. I bought a mod blade off of Rick and his brother, Jim, when they had their motorsports back in the day. So I actually started my race career out at Deerfield as well 20 years ago and ran that for a couple years and basically ended up moving over to Sharon Speedway closer to our house, running pro stocks. Actually, when she was being born, so my mom and wife and my sisters would tote her to the track to make sure that she was okay when she was pregnant, and we would be out racing every Saturday night. And then just sort of life started happening, and kids got older, and some more kids came along, and just sort of put things on jack stands and tucked away in the corner. And just, I don't know, maybe around 9, 10, we just started talking about racing and watching racing. And let's just go out and try a few. And she did more and more. Hey, what's happening Saturday night? Hey, can we go here? And just one haphazard night, we went to Mercer Speedway, and they were running junior sprints, and you could just see the twinkle in the eye. And I'm just sort of looking, and I saw this deal come across and talked to the guy, and we made the big swap of his car for my old pro stock. So sort of my racing career sort of ended to prompt hers up. So
unreal. What a story.
Yes.
All right. So you said your heart pounding, you know, when you're just from a boy getting involved as a second generation racer. How is that heart now looking at your baby girl in a race car every Saturday night? It's different, I'm sure.
Yes. Hell yeah. Being an ex-racer and then seeing how she races and trying to get, like she talked about, the mental game of, you know, especially with dirt, it's very unlike asphalt. You know, like they always say, as most dirt racers say, you take asphalt to get there, and you actually race on the dirt. That's the true love. Like she said, it's weather. Last night it was windy, so it dried the track out, so it was super dusty. Then other times, you know, it's watery, it's hot, cold. You just never know. You got to take all that and trying to have her actually start reading the track and seeing where the little bumps and the grooves and what's the best scenario. And like she said, what happens where like her starting position, that matters, because depending on how she wants to drive that day or how that condition, just to have her start to look at not just what's here, what's down the track.
Yeah.
We need to paying attention on what the whole scenario. So the more that she's gotten into it, just to see her take more of that role and to start seeing that scenario, that that makes me proud. So.
Yeah, I bet. I can see it. You're beaming right now. Flintstone Flyer Racing says great family, and Haley is so much fun to watch out on the track. Also, Mark chiming in again says they are great neighbors to have in the pits, and an awesome sponsor. So.
Yes, we have Integrity Aquatics is a shared interest on that. So yes.
The one thing I've learned quickly about racing families and racers in general is they know how to treat their sponsors, which is very similar to what we have to do here at YSN. So tip of the cap to all the racers out there. Corey, when you look at a young lady like Haley that's integral in really getting things started up again with racing, it's one of those, when you hand off the baton a little bit, you were a little older when you got started. She's a little bit younger. What's, I guess, suggestions do you have for her? And it's a different world for you because, you love racing at 14, but you weren't in the driver's seat at 14 necessarily.
Yeah. I would have loved to have the opportunity to drive something, but other than like me and my buddy Willie used to like kind of roll our parents' cars down the hill and like get a start and drive around the block, like around the neighborhood. But we live out in the middle of nowhere, so you can do that type of stuff when you're 14. Just maybe his dad used to monitor the mileage on his Mazda RX-7, be like, why is there 10 miles on my car while we're pretending we're sleeping? Like we didn't just pull back in the driveway 5 minutes ago. But she already puts way more thought into this than the mental game that I do. I'm just mental. I don't have no mental game to racing. I just kind of show up like, and that's something I've got to, I've come to the conclusion this year that I kind of have to, since it's a one-man show here, I have to now take the driver's role that I'm in, and I have to expand my crew chief role to actually changing things. So if like you as a driver, imagine your dad's doing the work. Anything that you've noticed that needs changed on that car, do not be afraid to tell that to suit your driving style. Even he understands that. I've got to the point where I've run the course with just showing up and driving this thing, and it is what it is. And if anything needs to get better, it's just the driver. I've, like at the end of the season now, everybody's been making adjustments to their car, and I'm just run what a brung type of deal. And it's starting to show. Like I'm kind of falling back here lately, and maybe not as lucky as it was early, but yeah, anything that you can just relay to him and it needs change, or even if you just don't like the way it feels for you, heck, make those changes. Because I've got to the point now where, like I said, I have to make the changes in the car now.
Jim Good wants to make a change. He says she drove way better than Corey did last night. I thought someone else was in Corey's car. Next week, Haley should drive Corey's car.
Last night, the heat race. I will not describe it here with this young lady here, how I described it to everybody else, because it was very unchristian, my description of my heat race.
Michael Vargas says, go Haley.
It was just unimpressive, is to say the least, I guess. But how I described it was probably not fit for most sailors, and definitely not in mixed company how I would describe it. But it was true. It was none of it was a lie. Yeah, so I I felt way better about the feature race. That heat race, I ran no laps that were fast. Yeah, for like your guys' stock Predator engines or whatever you guys are running. It was not. It was all garbage. Like I was like, oh, like after the checkered flag, I was just shaking my head because I knew Jim's over there in turn 2, and I was like, nope. I was like, I don't even want to look there. You know, he's usually I can tell how the race went based on his reaction. I was like, I don't want to see it. I was just shaking my head. I'm like, it's not going to be good.
Haley, when you look at Goods, obviously it's a family. You know, it's one that you're happy to be a part of. As you told us off the air, talk to me about what you want to see more. You want to see more kids out there and racing against these kids. How do these kids get involved? I mean, obviously you're very fortunate to have, be a third generation driver, have your dad know exactly what's going on and sacrifice his car for yours. How do kids get involved? I mean, do you want to be one of the leaders of Goods Raceway and your age group in the junior sprints and things of that nature? And more so, maybe not from on the track, but from encouraging people, young ladies like yourself and young gentlemen to get on the track and give it a ride.
I see a bunch of them get into it by like friends, family, and sometimes I'll just see them come from different tracks. And I do encourage it. It is a lot of fun. You learn along the way. Most people probably don't do it because they're scared or nervous. But from my experience, like I just got onto the track my first time and drove. It's nothing to be scared of.
What was that feeling like for you, getting on the track and just driving? Was there, I mean, I'm sure there was nerves, being scared. I mean, excitement, how many feelings were flowing through you?
Well, when I was first just waiting there, because we wait to get on the track, I was so nervous. I wasn't quite sure if I knew what I was doing or not. And then after the race, I was just so ecstatic. And I just had so many good feelings. It's not what I expected whatsoever.
Now, everybody, when they're scared to do something or they're doing something for the first time, they have those box of nerves. And a lot of times that leads to, I'm not going to do this. We call it chickening out, Were there any thoughts like that in the back of your mind? And how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I did feel like when I first got there, I wanted to chicken out, but then I was like, I got to see through this and keep going.
I love that. Dad, that's got to make you incredibly proud from your standpoint, because you've been there. You've done that. What was that? I mean, the conversation after her first race.
Well, yeah, we leading up until that first race that last year was, because it was her true rookie. She had never raced anything but go into some go-kart places and just testing out and enjoying race, driving around. So yeah, she was a box of nerves, and because I think she thought it was going to be a different experience. And then, she went out and, she didn't just burst into flames or hit the wall or run 5 people over and, just a total disaster. And she came in and 95% of what her thoughts were went away.
That's awesome.
So she's like, all right, now I can sort of focus more on actually learning to drive and to do the right thing. So,
and I'm just going to assume this is maybe Mom, Shannon?
Yes.
Okay, Shannon. Mom says Haley's junior sprint car is currently up for sale, so you can contribute to.
I was going to say, lucky for anybody that wants to get involved.
Yes.
Oh, now you chime in on the interview.
Yeah.
The master of ceremonies is here, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So if you want to get involved and you want to jump into the junior sprints, Haley, you have a car available. So kudos to you, and Dad, kudos to you as well for helping. How do people get in touch with you if they want to get involved? If they want to buy it, if they want to look at it, is it Facebook? Is that the easiest way?
Well, there's Facebook or like my cell phone, because we just put a for sale sign on the car. So I know Goods, they take quite a few photos. It's on the Goods site as well, I believe.
On Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, because we currently have a junior sportsman dwarf car. So we'll be eventually going towards Corey's division.
Lights out, Boy Scout.
So, yeah, she's 15 is the cutoff age-wise. So we're just sort of progressing to that next step. And I know Jim's Jim Good is excited about it. We've talked, and unfortunately, not to bring it down, but we literally had talked to Rick the Saturday before he passed, because the car that we have is part Pro chassis, which is a lot of the parts that he fixed. And like I said, I had bought my Mod Light chassis car combination from him and his brother 20 years ago. So I had sort of a, in and out relationship with them. And just because of the fact of what cars I was racing. So we had started having some conversations about doing things just as Corey did. And, that was pretty hard hit when all of that came through. Like we donated our winnings last night to their fund, and
Fantastic.
just to help them out, because that just is really devastating. But just another couple of shout outs to a couple of other sponsors. I know Corey was asking about possibly moving his steering wheel. Hoover Racing, Stan Hoover, he people aren't familiar with him. He used to run NASCAR back in the 80s. He has a shop in Warren, Ohio, fabrication. He does some fabulous work. He's helped us out quite a bit this year. He's getting back into building super late models. He does some great, fabulous fabrication. So that may be somebody that you may want to look into. But
it's good stuff.
To help out that racing family, because he's a local boy, and he's helped us out quite a bit this year.
We like local. We all like local. Mr. Renforth, I believe you have some things to get off your chest.
Yeah. Well, here, I want to support you in your dwarf car endeavors. So at least when you're in front of me at some point, there will be a Bandit logo on something up front. And I wanted to know how I could support you and what it'll take to get these two logos on your dwarf car, and we can discuss that later.
Can you show it off to the people?
Well,
Corey,
it's kind of covered up.
This is a show.
Where am I at, DJ?
The mullet cam.
Okay, I don't know where the middle of it is. There you go. Mark Sukon made these, so if you ever need any more, he's the go-to guy on those. He does put those out. So I wanted to give these to you, and just because I support you, and I think it's hilarious how much thought you put into this, and how you're already 40 times better at reading a track than I probably will ever be when I'm 60 and finally give up doing this stuff.
So because Corey's so good, hang on, I gotta change the thing here. There it is. Okay, because Corey is so good at this, there is a financial component to this too, that he will be donating and sponsoring Haley in her endeavors. So instead of just people wondering why the hell is this guy just giving out stickers, there is a donation.
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about it later.
I don't like publicly knowing people I do. Nice
but you know
stuff
how
with.
Weird it is that you're just handing out stickers.
That's what. But I mean, I'd rather people think I'm weird than nice, I guess. So like
the sticker game though in racing is one of those things.
Yeah.
Our neighbor, the ones that did our T-shirts, Blazzle Me. She lives a couple houses down from us. She's
Haley, show it off again. Pull your hair back. There we go.
Home business that they started, and creating T-shirts, and a lot of the local area schools take advantage of that opportunity, and we'll be having their sticker. We just got made up here a couple weeks ago themselves, and starting to rock it out on that new car that we're trying to get all finalized, and hopefully we might be able to bring out here before the end of this season, just to get her ready for full go next season with her new car.
Shannon says thank you, Corey. I don't know for the sticker or the donation, but she says thank you.
As awkward as it is, yes, I get it.
You came in here proud as a peacock, walking in here, giving me stuff because you were actually at the studio before I was.
Well, I mean, we had talked about how, you were going to roll out a red carpet since I show up a minute before showtime, and you're like, now you're the late one, last two shows.
I'm just going to say, I'm just putting it out there that when we have a show at 10:30, when you roll in at 10:28, that's a little bit weird. It's a little bit weird. And he walks in he's strutting in with his cowboy Stetson hat on. Haley, if I can give you any advice, it's always be early. Always be early, because the Bandit, ever since he has taken this arrogant peacock role, has slid back in the pack. And Jim Good will tell you the same thing. So, but he's one of the best out there. We appreciate you so much, and Jeremy as well. Thank you for stopping by today. Corey, we got to get a wall or something, maybe a hood of a car, and then start putting stickers on, because I think that'd be neat.
Here you go.
There we go.
That's part of this deal.
Okay.
This is part of the Blazzle Me deal again. As part of from us to you for bringing us on the show.
I appreciate
You are now part of the Flinner Racing crew.
All right.
There it is.
Be rocking out the hat.
Like I said, I'm a good gopher. If you need me to go get something for you.
There you go.
Hey.
Put the sticker on the back of the car so Corey can enjoy looking at himself. Says Flintstone Flyer Racing.
Absolutely.
You can dazzle him. He'll maybe go into hypnosis and he'll stay behind you.
I was like, man, I may not have best driving skills, but I got probably the best logo out there. So
There you go.
I just bummed it off of Harry the Cat. So, it's a stolen logo, really.
Jim Good says this Tuesday practice at the track, at the track 4 dark. Get her out here. I don't know what that. 4 dark. Oh, 4 2 dark. Okay.
Yeah, 4 p.m.
Okay. All right, guys, that's the show. I mean, we're in OT already. We're at extra laps. So 37 minutes now. And Corey, final thoughts?
It was great having you out here. Like I said, I'm incredibly awkward with this. DJ just loves it. He acts
It's my favorite thing.
He acts like you don't like it, but he's likes watching me squirm. Like I said, I'll support you guys and whatever you do from here on out, and I'm happy to do that. Like I said, you don't have to be good at racing to become famous for it. I guess I've proven that. Like, it's.
You see how it just gets more awkward as he keeps talking?
I know, because there's like
Yeah,
three.
it's always
sentences.
about the family and bringing it all back around and
Yeah.
helping
Well,
each other when it.
that's
when
what
you
it
need
is.
Yeah. So
I
You
can't
could-
give you any advice on how to win a race, so
But you can give her advice on how to act like a racer.
I guess
So there it is.
just be a good human being. That's all you got to do.
Haley, you want to take one trip through the sponsors once again and thank them?
Sure. Blazzle Me for the shirts. Hoover Racing, he's really helped out this year. Tegrity Aquatic, Sexton Architecture, Alcon Mechanical, all good family friends of ours. Jay Built, my uncle Eric, who's come out to support me a lot, and Flinner Racing.
Awesome. We have one last comment from Jen Good. Thank you, Corey, for all you do. We are thankful to have you with us. And more Coreyisms, please, from Nick Groves. So there you go, Corey. That's going to do it for our show today. Thankful for Jeremy, for Haley, and of course for the Bandit himself for taking some time out. We appreciate you for tuning in as the hat goes back on, and that means he's going to be riding right into the sunset on this NFL Sunday, week 1. So good luck to the racers this week. We'll see you next week right here on In the Driver's Seat with Corey.